it's beyond my comprehension how paintball markers, and indeed the paintball industry, can be somehow rather construed to be a danger to the public, a threat to society, and all those other epithets that the Greens like to throw around in this place. Maybe it's just the appearance of people with paintball markers covered in paint, running around a paintball field, shooting paintballs at one another that worries the hell out of them. But then again, in relation to that matter, it's probably more about control. While they've got control of people, they can do whatever they like, and that really is what that's all about. Paintball has got itself in the 1996 gun law reforms caught up in the regulation process. Everybody I speak to, whether it's in government, in opposition, in the Firearms Registry, in the industry itself, all agree that this is wrong. I've had, in the last 5 years, 4 ministers, now a fifth one just came to me the other day, and one Premier say that they agree with us in relation to this matter, and that yes, it's going to Cabinet, yes, it will be done, yes, it doesn't make any sense to waste police resources, Firearms Registry resources, regulating an industry that is really just a game. It's just another business like any other. Yet somehow or other, they can't just quite bring themselves to cross the line and actually move the paintball businesses, move the paintball players and those terribly dangerous weapons, to use a Greens expression, the paintball markers, out of the Firearms Registry, where you don't actually have to have a PTA, a permission to acquire a paintball marker. How terrible. This whole process is just plain stupid. And I don't know how many times I've said that, and I don't know, as I said earlier, I don't know how many times it's been agreed with me that it should be done. But again, it doesn't appear in this bill for some reason or other. Having been promised it on numerous occasions by the government in the last 4 or 5 years, it just doesn't appear. Obviously, there's something devious going on in the paintball industry, paintball players, that shouldn't be allowed. I mean, maybe, you know, if it's so vicious, if it's so dangerous, if it's such a threat to public safety, maybe what we should also then do is look at regulating and issue a PTA for someone who wants to get a computer game, because that, in many cases, is a hell of a lot worse than what happens on a paintball field. I take that interjection. I think Nerf guns are a real problem, especially when you paint them black. They're a real threat to society. This is just plain stupid. This amendment seeks to remove paintball markers of which no one can commit a crime. They don't even look like a firearm in the way that they're made, in the way that they're structured. The police have made sure that that's the case. And of course, they shoot paintballs and not bullets. Completely out. They should be completely removed from the Firearms Act. And at least there's one small concession. When you buy paintballs, you don't actually have to go and register them and get them written in the ammunition register. Not yet, anyway. At least if you use yellow ones, you might have to do it with the red ones.
Mr Chair, firstly, the industry does self-regulate now. That's the reason why there's such a low number of injuries. They self-regulate and there's a low number of injuries because they want people to come back again and again and again to paintball gaming. That's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, a paintball marker does fire a plastic, soft plastic globule of splatterable paint at a velocity, but nowhere near the velocity of a golf ball. No, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it, and nowhere near as far. Do we require the government to regulate the game of golf? No. Yeah. Golf courses operate under DAs with local government. This industry does not need the heavy hand of regulation, although I do acknowledge the points made by the minister that the government is thinking about it and looking at it. The trouble is, as Mr Borsak said, they've been doing that for, to the best of my knowledge, 5 or 6 years.